May 18, 2015, from the Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia. It's WWE's Raw, and it's the Raw after Payback. And to start off the show, we had the Authority, Stephanie, and Triple H. Stephanie McMahon and Triple H were on television together for the first time since WrestleMania, as they had each individually been on, but not together as the Authority cohesively at the same time. So they came out there, they were basking in their victory in the Fatal 4-Way match as Seth Rollins retained his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And then they were talking about the Intercontinental Championship and Elimination Chamber, as the belt will be on the line in the Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view on the WWE Network. And then Sheamus ended up interrupting them. He came out there and he said, "Why don't you just give me the belt?" So Sheamus was like, "Yeah, just give it to me." He's like, "I injured Daniel Bryan." And then they showed footage from his match with Daniel Bryan where he was being very physical. And I mean, you see the footage, judge for yourself what you think about that. But so Sheamus just being a total jerk. So I hate Sheamus. Even I was starting to almost not hate him as much, but then this just made me hate him again all the more. Screw you, Sheamus. So anyway, then Ryback came out, and so Ryback's pretty much saying like, "Oh, you want to pick on the little guys? Why don't you pick on the big guy?" And so Ryback actually was awesome on the mic in this spot. I thought he did a great job. And he also, his acknowledgement of the fans too. Ryback is really coming into his own when it comes to his interaction with the people there in attendance. Is earlier when Sheamus came out, people were saying, "You look stupid," and he was just like, "You don't know anything." But then Ryback he incorporated it with the thing he's been doing where he bangs his head and then he says stupid. So he's like, "Hey, you know what? I gotta agree with the WWE universe." He's like, "Has anyone ever told you?" And then he's like, hit his head and was like, "You look stupid." That was awesome. So freaking then Triple H was like, "Hey, why don't you guys got beef? Why don't you fight right here tonight?" So they announced that Ryback and Sheamus are going to be in the Elimination Chamber. So that's 2 of the 6 competitors. Hopefully we'll find out more tonight on Raw. If not all, then maybe within the week, by SmackDown, I would imagine maybe they reveal the last 2. But they might reveal all 6 tonight. But we'll keep you updated on that. But I thought it was a pretty good opening of the show. It's good to see Triple H and Stephanie come out there. They are the heeliest of heels, for sure, as they definitely always get a good reaction from the people, and they always manage to get under the WWE Universe's skin just in the way that only Stephanie and Triple H can. And then also, Sheamus coming out there, and I'll tell you, I hate him more than ever after tonight. It brought it home. Like, it really, the whole reason I don't like Sheamus was WrestleMania 28, and then him, taking out Daniel Bryan. It's like, screw you, Sheamus. That's how I feel. But let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below. And also, what do you think about Ryback coming out there? I thought it was pretty awesome. Ryback is a guy that at first I wasn't really big on, but I'm becoming a big fan of the big guy more and more every week. Every time he gets on the mic too, he continues to impress, and it's enjoyable to watch. It's entertaining to see him grow as a performer on the mic and in the ring. And I'll tell you what too, supposedly, I'm not sure exactly, but from what I'm reading, he broke his rib, last night at Payback against Bray Wyatt, and now he's going against Sheamus on Raw. It's like, goddamn, he's not just the big guy, he's the tough guy. Whew, he got his ribs taped up, you see, but man, going in there with, I don't know, man, broken ribs, he crazy, but he's definitely tough, that's for sure. But I thought this was a pretty good opening, and it pretty much, they went to commercial and they were going to have the match, and it was a pretty physical match. Ryback, of course, was in the ring with those injured ribs as his ribs were taped up from that hit he took from Bray Wyatt, as Bray Wyatt came down on him with all of his weight on the previous night at Payback on the pay-per-view. But here, Ryback was actually putting a beating on Sheamus. He actually picked him up, tossed him into the announcer's table. It didn't break. Sheamus just bounced right off of it. Ryback would then throw Sheamus into the ring post. So it looked like Ryback was in control, but then Sheamus had something in his eye. And then Ryback picked him up for the shell shock, but Sheamus just started chopping at Ryback's injured ribs. So Ryback dropped him. Sheamus went to the corner as he was cuffing his supposed injured eye. And then as Ryback went over to beat on him, the ref broke him up. And as the ref broke them up, Sheamus used that opportunity to bro kick Ryback right in the face. And it was 1, 2, 3. Sheamus wins. So Sheamus pulled off the victory out of nowhere. And after the match, he revealed that he was in fact playing possum, as his eye was not injured in the least bit. So he was just pretending to have an injured eye so that he could pull that dirty trick and get that cheap shot off on Ryback in the middle of the ring with that bro kick. And as they had announced on the opening, Ryback and Sheamus will be in the Elimination Chamber match for the Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber May 31st on the WWE Network. And so Sheamus getting some momentum heading into that match. But let me know what you thought about this match between Sheamus and Ryback. I was enjoying it while Ryback was beating the crap out of Sheamus there for a little bit. But then Sheamus, that dirty bastard, turned things around with playing possum just like the friggin' scumbag that he is. I hate Sheamus. He sucks. I'm not a fan of Sheamus. I want Ryback to kick his ass. I want everybody to kick his ass. And I want an Elimination Chamber them to beat Sheamus. The last thing I want is for Sheamus to get that belt. He had told Triple H in the opening that he thought he should just put the belt on him. He doesn't even want to earn the belt. He just wants it to be given to him. Screw Sheamus. Anyway, that's what I think. Well, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you like Sheamus? Maybe you do. If you do, that's your opinion. I do respect your opinion, even though I do not agree. And Ryback, I'll tell you what, I wasn't a big fan of his at first, but he has been growing on me. He just gets better and better, especially on the mic, as we saw even at the opening. I mean, he was doing an excellent job, going on Sheamus as the show opened up, acknowledging the crowd. He even worked in his, little gimmick there where he slaps his head and says stupid, but he aimed it at Sheamus, saying that Sheamus looks stupid, so I thought that was pretty cool. But let me know what you thought about this match and what you think about Sheamus and what you think about Ryback and what do you think about Elimination Chamber. So these are the first two revealed to be in that match. And we'll see who else they reveal throughout the course of Raw. The Raw after Payback. And we had Renee Young and Adrian Neville in the ring before Neville would face King Barrett in a rematch from the previous night's pay-per-view, as Neville had beat King Barrett by a countout, and then he ended up hitting him with the red arrow after the match, and so they were having a rematch here. But Renee Young was interviewing Neville, and then Neville was talking, about how he's a little guy and a lot of people doubt him, but when he gets up on the top rope and flies through the air, he feels 10 feet tall and invincible. But then Bo Dallas came out and interrupted Adrian Neville. And Bo Dallas and Adrian Neville are rivals going back to NXT, as Adrian Neville was the longest reigning NXT champion, and he defeated Bo Dallas to win that title. You actually can relive that in WWE 2K15 in the NXT mode. But as for right here, Bo Dallas came out, and Bo Dallas actually ended up attacking Adrian Neville. He went after Neville's knee. Neville, as they call him, right? They dropped the Adrian. But so he went after Neville's knee, and then King Barrett came out. And so King Barrett came out, and they had their match. Neville and King Barrett and Bo Dallas joined the announce team. So he was a guest commentator for the match, and he actually said that he attacked him to help him. That by injuring the knee further, that would put Neville in a spot where he would have to overcome, and if he did, that would just make him all the stronger. So Bo Dallas using his warped logic there, and he was calling Booker T Mr. T, as T is his last name, right? Mr. T said, "Hey, I'm just being polite." He said, "I'm not Mr. T." He's like, "Well, Booker T, Mr. Booker, Mr. T, right?" So anyway, Neville was getting his knee worked over by King Barrett. Barrett was viciously going after him as he just targeted that knee and just kept working that knee over. And then Neville tried to go to the top rope and do a springboard, but instead he fell right down to the mat as he was not able to find his feet below him due to that injured knee. And that's when King Barrett hit him with the bull hammer. So King Barrett got him with the bull hammer, and it was 1, 2, 3. King Barrett wins. And actually last night, when Neville had German suplex Barrett, he broke his scepter, but Barrett had a new scepter. So how many scepters does King Barrett have? Does he just have like a box of scepters? But anyway, so then after the match, Bo Dallas attacked Neville and further worked over that knee, just slamming his knee into the ring post, as Bo Dallas still holding a grudge from when he lost his NXT championship to Neville some time ago. And the night after Payback, it looks like Bo Dallas got a little bit of payback, a little bit of revenge on Neville, although it was not really warranted. And afterwards, Neville was just down and out, and we'll see. Will Neville be able to compete, or will he have to take some time off? And once he is healthy, it looks like he'll be going against Bo Dallas, as now their rivalry has been reignited. So Bo Dallas there in the ring doing the Tebow, stance there that he does. But let me know what you thought about this match between King Barrett and Neville. And what you thought about Bo Dallas attacking him. Actually, I thought it was pretty good, for what it was. It's not the most exciting match, but it did further along a story. It told the story. It was something different. Not always, are you going to have the same thing over and over. It's good to see them switch it up, having something that's telling you a story through having this match where he's working over that injured knee and everything. And so I thought it was, entertaining, and it was good towards, like, where it's going, by setting up Neville as being even more of an underdog than he already is. So I thought that was interesting, and also with Bo Dallas attacking him, that sets up for Bo Dallas and Neville to go at it, which is a really good match. I mean, if you go back and watch their work in NXT, it was some really exciting matches for sure. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Neville go against Bo Dallas in the near future. Maybe even an Elimination Chamber, but we shall see when that gets, going, when they start that program. It looks like they pretty much have got that, feud shifted from Neville and Barrett over to Neville and Dallas, so we'll see who Barrett starts feuding with from here. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think about Bo Dallas attacking Neville, and what do you think about their feud moving forward, and who do you think Barrett's going to be feuding with next? Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. So then on the next segment, we had Rusev in the ring cutting a promo as he was talking about his match from Payback versus John Cena, the I Quit match, where he said something, and then Lana said, he says I quit, and the match was over. He actually had Cena in the position where Cena was passed out. He thought he had won the match, but Cena did not utter the words I quit because he was passed out, just like at Fastlane. But then as the match continued, he took the friggin' rope, the top rope, right off the ring, and then it ended up wrapped around him instead of wrapping it around Cena. So Cena ended up turning things around on him with that rope. And so then that's when he was screaming. And Lana actually ended up coming out, and she said that the words that Rusev said were the Bulgarian words for I quit. But before Lana came out, though, Rusev, he was just going on. He was talking about, like, I didn't quit. And he said, I want the Authority and John Cena to come out here right now. And let's start this match back over. Which I was like, whoa, friggin' Rusev, man. He's crazy. But we didn't see the Authority. We didn't see John Cena. Instead, it was Lana who came out, as I just mentioned a moment ago. But she came out there and she was, addressing Rusev, and of course, everybody loves Lana, and I wonder why. They're the same. I mean, come on now. She does an excellent job at what she does, but there's, the mainly it's because she's gorgeous. That's why they love her. And then Rusev, he's the ultimate heel. And so that's really where this, went down. It's it's become official here in this spot that he pretty much has gotten rid of Lana. They have separated. He is, done with her. Rusev is on his own. At least that's how it appears anyway. Although Lana did, when she came out there, she was trying to mend whatever relationship they have and was saying, oh, you're not such a bad guy. People don't know the real you. But he was just being a total jerk to her, just yelling and screaming, going crazy. And so she walked away, and it looks like things are done between the two of them. It's kind of thing where, it's a shame that it had to go this way, because they did make, a good pair as just being, the whole image and the whole gimmick, and just they're such a great team. And he's such a good heel. Like, he's so good at being bad. He's the guy you love to hate. And then she's doing an excellent job as his, his manager, his valet, whatever you want to call it. She kind of like is more of a manager, I would say, actually, to tell you the truth. But the thing about it is that Lana got over, and mainly because of her looks. That's people just kept cheering her to the point where they had to separate them. They really didn't have much of a choice, because you can't have people cheering for Lana when Rusev, like I said, he's like kind of, other than Seth Rollins, he's like the main heel. And when you look at the heels, I mean, you got Stephanie McMahon. She can't wrestle. I mean, I guess she could once in a while, but she's not an everyday wrestler. And then, Seth Rollins, and then Rusev, really. I mean, now they got King Barrett, being the heel, so that, you got to have heels. That's the thing of it. You can't just have faces. You got to have heels. And that's the thing of Rusev, man. You got to give him credit where credit is due. He is an amazing performer. Like, I mean, this right here was like high art. Give this guy an Oscar, man. I mean, he really came off as such a jerk in this segment. He's been growing by leaps and bounds, like a lot of the young talent that they have. Every time he gets on the mic, you really see that he's, come very far. And, I mean, with the way he was handling things tonight, I don't know if he really even needs a mouthpiece. I think he might be able to hang on his own, and that's where it's going, so he's going to have to. Like I said, he's one of the best heels that they've got. He does a good job in his role as a heel. Like I said, he's the guy you love to hate. And I thought it was interesting. We'll see where it goes from here, though. Let me know what you thought about Lana and Rusev and their split. Are you glad that they finally split off? I imagine most people are. If you are upset that they're, splitting apart, let me know as well. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about that match at Payback between Cena and Rusev? It was one heck of a match. It was one heck of a feud as well. And where does Rusev go from here? I'm hoping maybe they interject him into that Intercontinental Elimination Chamber match. That would be pretty cool. But let me know what you think about Rusev, what you think about, Lana and Rusev, and where does Lana go from here, too? What's she going to do? Who's she going to end up with? Is she going to still, if she ain't with Rusev, when's she going to lose that Russian accent? Even though there was almost, a tease of that here, is the more she was talking, I almost thought before our very eyes she was just going to start speaking in her, native Floridian accent, even though I believe she was actually born in Russia or something like that, or like her dad was stationed over there, like she was, her dad was in the armed forces, I think. But then, like, she went to Florida State, C.J. Perry and all that. She's in movies. She's been on Banshee and all this stuff. And she actually, the thing that really got her known was that she was just in the crowd at a Florida State game for the Seminoles. And she's so gorgeous that the announcer was like, wow, she's hot. And then next thing you know, she's got modeling agencies coming after her. She's doing acting stuff. And now, 10 years later, whatever, she's in the WWE as Lana. So is she going to, drop that and start talking in that Florida tongue? Or is she going to stick with the Russian accent? We'll see. Who's she going to hook up with? Is she going to be with, I don't know, Dolph Ziggler? There's one guess. Who knows? Maybe she'll be with Neville. I don't know. You never know where she's going to end up. Is she going to be with the heel? Is she going to be with the face? The rumor is that they're going to actually have her start competing in the ring and wrestle as a face. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's one of the rumors anyway. But let me know what you think. Definitely interested, as I said, in your opinions and your thoughts. And whether you agree or disagree, I definitely respect your opinions. So then on the next segment, it's some singles action between Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. And this is a match that was made earlier on, as what had happened was you had the Authority backstage with Seth Rollins. They were celebrating the whole Architect of a Dream. They had champagne. J&J was back there. Kane was back there. And then what ended up happening was Dean Ambrose showed up. He crashed the party, and Ambrose said, "Hey, Seth, I'm going to grant you a rematch at Elimination Chamber as long as you put your title on the line." And they were like, "What? What are you talking about?" And so then the Authority said, "I'll let you handle this one, Kane." And so then Kane was like, "You know what? I'll let you handle this one, Seth." So then Seth was like, "You know what, Dean? Back of the line." And so then they actually ended up making a match for Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt. So Dean Ambrose going against Bray Wyatt. Ambrose wants a shot at that WWE World title against Seth Rollins, but here he would have to go against Bray Wyatt, the new face of fear, who is coming off of a victory against Ryback at Payback. So Bray Wyatt came out there, and the Lunatic Fringe and the Eater of Worlds were going at it. It was a pretty good match, back and forth, different points. Both men had the momentum in their favor as they're both working each other over. Then we saw a pretty cool moment where they're both outside the ring and they both almost had a double count out, but they both jumped in the ring at the 9, and so they both narrowly escaped the count out. The match continued, and then we saw another pretty sweet spot with Dean Ambrose flying through the ropes of the suicide dive at Bray Wyatt. Then when they got back in the ring, Bray Wyatt, he was able to get him in the Sister Abigail, but Dean Ambrose ends up punching him in the face and reversing out of it, and then he sets up for the dirty deeds, but then Bray Wyatt reverses out of it, and then Bray Wyatt throws him up against the ropes, but then Dean Ambrose bounces off the ropes as he spins around. He comes back at Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt nails him with a vicious clothesline. Kind of shades of his match there against Ryback. He had a spot where he was playing possum outside the ring and then hit Ryback with a big clothesline. So similar to that. And so now Bray Wyatt was in control. He then went to go to the top rope, but he missed off the top rope. And then Dean Ambrose now in control, and he goes to the top rope. But wait a minute, here comes Joey Mercury. And then through the crowd, Jamie Noble. And Joey Mercury, he had distracted the referee, and then Jamie Noble pushes Dean Ambrose off the top rope. Bray Wyatt grabs him, hits him with the Sister Abigail, and Bray Wyatt, 1, 2, 3. Bray Wyatt is victorious over Dean Ambrose by help by way of J&J Security, who were then at the top of the ramp with Seth Rollins, who had the WWE World Championship draped over his shoulder and a glass of champagne in his hand as he was celebrating. That was what this evening, the theme of the evening, the architect of a dream, Seth Rollins coming off of his defense of the WWE World title in that fatal 4-way at Payback. So J&J and Seth Rollins cost Dean Ambrose the match, as they are afraid of Dean Ambrose, as it would appear. One has to wonder, is Bray Wyatt somehow, hooked up with the Authority? I don't really think so. I think it's more that they're just afraid of the Lunatic Fringe and don't want him getting any W's in the win column, because they do not want to grant him a rematch, as he is the guy that they're the most afraid of. He's a wild card. You never know what Dean Ambrose is going to do at any moment. He's an agent of chaos. He's just for total anarchy and just destruction. He does, even at his own cost, he'll freaking put it all on the line just to freaking hurt his opponent. He's a madman. But he lost here to the new face of fear, the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, which, it was pretty cool seeing these two go at it. The two of my favorite wrestlers, Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, that are currently active on the WWE main roster. So it was cool to see them go at it, and it was interesting how they had it play out. I'm kind of wondering if maybe Bray Wyatt ends up going against Seth Rollins, as maybe because he could be upset that they helped him out, and then that leads him to actually going against Seth. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we have a triple threat between Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. Possibly anything can happen. Who knows what's going to be at Elimination Chamber? Will we see Dean Ambrose get that rematch that he wants, that he was looking to play maybe some reverse psychology on Seth Rollins by saying that he would grant it to him, but things did not work out for Dean here on Monday Night Raw in Richmond, Virginia, as he ends up losing. Bray Wyatt is victorious, and Seth Rollins was celebrating. So let me know what you thought about this match between Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. It's kind of thing where, when you got Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt going at it, it's like, who do you root for? And no matter who wins, it's kind of like bittersweet. It's like you're happy for the one guy, and then you're kind of like, you know. But, because, like I said, I want Bray Wyatt, but then you want Dean Ambrose. So it's like, well, which one do you go for? But let me know what you thought, who you're going for, what you thought about the match. I mean, it was still cool to see him mix it up. You know, definitely two awesome performers in the ring, just freaking going at it. Definitely giving us some awesome entertainment, some awesome WWE action. So that was, you know, pretty cool overall. But let me know what you thought about it. And then what do you think about the end of the matches? J&J cost Ambrose. That kind of was like, you know, you wish they would have just let it play out. But at least this way you can kind of, you know, gauge your, you know, anger more towards those guys. And, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, well, this guy beat this guy. It's kind of more like, those darn J&J Security, what the heck? But, yeah, so that's how it went down. Let me know, as I said, what you thought about it. I thought it was interesting. We'll see where it goes from here, as we should have further developments on SmackDown, I'm guessing, and of course next week on Raw, as Elimination Chamber is just 2 short weeks away. So things are definitely heating up with the quickness, as they'll reach a boiling point very soon. But as I said, let me know what you thought about this match, what you thought about J&J coming down there and costing Dino the match against Bray Wyatt as he gets the victory. So then on the next segment, and we had some tag team action, a rematch of the WWE Tag Team Championship match from Payback, except Xavier Woods would be banned from ringside. So we had New Day versus Kid and Cesaro, and Kid and Cesaro came out first, and New Day came out without Xavier Woods, and they said that he was banned because of the controversial win over Kid and Cesaro at Payback, as Xavier Woods got the final fall of the 2 out of 3 falls matches, although he was not officially in the match. So Xavier Woods, you know, that's how they've been doing it. He's been helping them cheat to win, that's how they got the belts, and that's how they've kept the belts. And so then we had them going at it in this match, and this match broke down pretty quick. It did go to commercial, came back, and, you know, Big E, he's pretty powerful, but he was actually in the ring even though he was not the legal man, and so New Day would get disqualified because he was going at it with Cesaro. He tossed Cesaro out of the ring, but he refused to leave the ring, as Kofi and Big E were just kicking the crap out of Kid in the corner, and so it was a disqualification. Kid and Cesaro get the W, but they don't get the titles, as New Day remains champions even without Xavier Woods. So they showed, hey, they can still keep the belts even though they didn't get the win. Xavier Woods would make his way down to ringside, though, after the match. And so now New Day and Kid and Cesaro are going at it. But then, wait a minute, here comes the Lucha Dragons. So here's the Lucha Dragons. And then here comes Los Matadors. And then the Ascension. And then here comes the Primetime Players. And the Primetime Players clear the ring. And then the Lucha Dragons get back, but they duck the clothesline. They jump over the top rope and wipe out the other 4 teams with the plancha, as they wipe out New Day, the Ascension, Los Matadors, and Tyson Kidd was over there as well. I don't think Cesaro was over on that end, but it was pretty crazy. And then the Primetime Players, Titus O'Neil grabs Xavier Woods, who was trying to sneak off, but he grabbed him by the hair, pulled him in the ring, and then Darren Young tossed him in the air for a gut buster. And so he wiped out Xavier Woods, and the Primetime Players are standing tall. And this will be the match at Elimination Chamber. The tag team titles will be on the line in the first ever tag team Elimination Chamber, as all 6 teams will be competing. It will start off with 2 teams in the ring, 4 men to start it off, and then you'll have a team in each pod. So that's going to be exciting. It's going to be crazy. It's going to start off as like a tornado tag, and it's just going to be insane, as we're going to end up with as many as 12 men in the ring at once. Of course, maybe somebody gets eliminated before all 4 pods are open and all 6 teams are going at it. So it's going to be crazy. Elimination Chamber, I can't wait. Of course, Xavier Woods, it appears that he's going to be locked out of the Elimination Chamber, as that is a big reason why they're having that match in the Elimination Chamber. So that's going to be crazy. But as for this one, though, the New Day gets disqualified. Kid and Cesaro get in the win column, And so they got, not really much momentum with that kind of victory. And really the ones that got the momentum heading into that match are the primetime players, as they did take out, at least 3 of the teams. Of course, the Lucha Dragons took out a bunch of people outside the ring as well. So they've got a little bit of momentum in their favor as well. But it's going to be interesting seeing that match for sure and how things develop leading up to it. But let me know what you thought about this match right here between Kid and Cesaro and the New Day, and what'd you think about all the tag teams crashing the ring, and then the primetime players coming out clearing the ring, and then that awesome dual plancha by the Lucha Dragons. That was pretty awesome. So then on the next segment, and John Cena was in the ring, and he was cutting a promo talking about his United States Championship, and that is the belt. And so he was adding extra emphasis on the United States Championship. There were armed service members in attendance, and he pointed to them. He said, "That's why I do it, for those men and women, and for the red, white, and blue, the USA and the United States Championship is the belt. It's our belt, the United States belt." So John Cena adding, definitely something to the U.S. belt. He's bringing it up. It's actually got more value than it's ever had before with John Cena as the United States champion, and with the United States Open challenges every single week, as he once again issued the Open challenge. And who came out? Kevin Owens. Oh my goodness, Kevin Owens comes out, the NXT champion. He's going to be defending his NXT championship May 20th at NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, exclusively on the WWE Network, and that's just a couple days away at this point. It's less than 48 hours away. So Kevin Owens will be defending that NXT Championship against Sami Zayn. And for those of you that remember, Sami Zayn wrestled one heck of a match a couple weeks ago on Raw against John Cena. His shoulder was injured in that match, and Kevin Owens said, "You know what, Cena, don't worry about Sami Zayn and his shoulder, because I'm the one who injured him." And that was sentiments that he had echoed on NXT last week, and here again he states that he's the man who injured Sami Zayn. And then John Cena said, "Well, you know what? Sami Zayn might have been injured, but he had a fire in his eyes, and he fired up, and he gave me one heck of a match. He gave me his best shot. But I look into your eyes, Kevin Owens, and I see a scared little boy who bit off more than he could chew, and he's crapping his pants." And so then Kevin Owens said, "You know what? I'm a prize fighter." He said, "All these people here are a waste of my time, and your United States Championship, well, it means nothing to me. I've got the NXT Championship." He's like, "I'm going to fight you, but it's going to be on my own terms when I want to fight you." He said, and Cena had said, though, that these people aren't a waste of time. These people are the reason why we're here. Without them, there is no Raw. There is no WWE. And so then Kevin Owens is like, "Oh, you don't know nothing about me, John Cena." And then he kicked him in the gut, and he picked him up, and he powerbombed him. He hit him with the KO powerbomb. Oh my goodness. And then he grabbed the United States Championship, and then he threw it down on the ground, and then he stepped on it, and he rose up his arm in his NXT Championship, and he's like, "Yeah, pretty much that's the thing. Kevin Owens, he was Kevin Steen. He's from Canada, Montreal, I'm pretty sure, and Quebec." And so he don't care about the United States. He doesn't care about the United States Championship, and he has thrown down the gauntlet. So Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to be going at Unstoppable on May 20th on the WWE Network. That's going to be awesome. But we haven't seen that last of Kevin Owens in the WWE. As you know, before long, he'll be making it up to the main roster. And it looks like he's already got a feud set up with John Cena. But could that possibly be happening sooner than later? Maybe Sami Zayn gets back the title. Maybe Kevin Owens comes up. Or maybe Kevin Owens keeps the title and then he comes up and we have a champion versus champion match. United States Championship versus NXT Championship. Could that happen? You never know. Will it happen? Maybe at Elimination Chamber? That would be crazy. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. Anything could happen in the WWE. Anything is possible, so you never know what's going to happen. I thought this was a pretty cool spot. John Cena was awesome, as always. John Cena's always awesome on the mic. He cuts the best promos. I mean, he never ceases to impress. I mean, John Cena's the man. You got to give him credit. And then Kevin Owens coming out. I thought he did a pretty good job. And Kevin Owens is a guy that learned to speak English from Jim Ross. Not personally, but just from watching Raw. That's how he learned, because he speaks French Canadian, or French rather, because French Canadian, is that really its own dialect? I'm sure there's a variation on it, how they speak it in Canada versus how they speak it over in France, but that was his native tongue up there. He's a French Canadian, but he watched Raw as a youngin, and he was learning how to speak English from Jim Ross, as he actually revealed that on Cole Cabana's podcast, The Art of Wrestling. You should check it out. Believe they just have it marked as Kevin Steen. That was the name he wrestled under on the independent scene before adapting and adopting the name Owens at NXT. So definitely check that out. And he used to use the word slobberknocker in everyday conversation, and people are like, oh, why you always say slobberknocker? And he's like, oh, what? It's because he learned how to speak English from Jim Ross. But anyway, which actually, for that matter, check out Jim Ross's podcast on Podcast One. That's also a cool podcast as well, the Ross Report. So yeah, this was a cool spot. I thought it was awesome. It definitely built up some excitement and brought some attention to Unstoppable, which I cannot wait to see Unstoppable. And I thought Cena did an amazing job. Like I said, as always, Cena is awesome. Can't wait to see him next week defend the United States Championship, and who's going to be against, who knows. He didn't have a match right here, but it was still pretty awesome. I was pretty excited when I saw Kevin Owens go. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Kevin Owens is coming out, even though they didn't face each other. But he did powerbomb Cena, although I would actually like to see Owens and Cena go at it in a match. When will that happen? It's anyone's guess. But let me know what you thought about this segment, and what do you think about Kevin Owens and Cena, if they're going to face off in the near future, the far future, or what do you think about that, and when and where? So then on the next segment, we had some singles competition between Dolph Ziggler and Stardust, and Ziggler was all stitched up above his right eye as he had been busted open, giving a headbutt to Sheamus at Payback. So he had the scar there, and he was going against Stardust. He made short work of Stardust, finished him off with a zigzag as he was being very protective of his eye. And so then after the match, Michael Cole interviewed Dolph Ziggler, and he revealed him to be the sixth man that will be in the Elimination Chamber. As we already saw, they added Sheamus and Rusev earlier on, and then they added R-Truth, Rusev, and King Barrett. So we had Ryback, Sheamus, Rusev, King Barrett, and R-Truth, and the sixth man, Dolph Ziggler, competing for that Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber. But then Lana made her way out to the ring, and so then Lana took a look at Dolph Ziggler, and then she kissed him. They kissed again, and then here comes Rusev. So Rusev comes out, he started beating up on Dolph Ziggler, and so he was laid out. Then he confronted Lana. Lana slapped Rusev across the face. Rusev then became infuriated, and it looked like he was going for Lana, but then here comes Dolph Ziggler as he nails him with the zigzag and takes out Rusev, and then Dolph Ziggler and Lana would leave together. So Dolph Ziggler and Lana are now together, and Rusev and Lana are no more. And of course, Dolph Ziggler got the victory over Stardust. Is how this whole thing started. And you know what? I mean, it was a quick match there between Dolph Ziggler and Stardust. Not much action. I mean, it was almost kind of like the only reason they had the match was just to have a reason for Dolph to be out there, so that way Lana could come out there. Because, I mean, with that, you know, the scar there, the stitched eye, it wasn't like he could really, you know, get too physical in the match. Although, you know, Stardust, I think, is better than that. But, hey, you know, that's how it goes. And then they had, you know, Lana come out there. And, I mean, I'd already predicted that she would end up with Dolph. If you actually go back and listen to the video where I was talking about with Lana and Rusev breaking up, I said, hey, maybe she ends up with Dolph Ziggler. It was just, like, off the top of my head, the first guess, right? So, I mean, it's not like it don't make some sense, but they didn't, like, give appropriate story to it. It was like, Lana comes out there, and then it's like, what? I'm hot, you're hot, let's make out. Like, what? Like, okay. Like, can we get at least, like, they didn't say anything. There was no story development whatsoever. Like, it didn't really, like, make sense. Like, and it was something, like I said, I mean, it was the first thing that came to mind was her and Dolph. but like, could we have some build, any build, even a freaking line? Could he say something to her? Could she say something to him that somehow explains why they're all of a sudden making out? You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, I know, yeah, sometimes in life, you know, it's a thing that happens where you end up, you know, kissing somebody and not even saying words. It's happened to me once before. I'm sure it's happened to some people. I'm sure it happens to Dolph Ziggler on a daily basis. Looking the way he does, right? Or Lana looking the way she does. But, I mean, it's kind of like, geez, can you give us some kind of story here? You know what I mean? Like I said, I know that, like, yeah, you know, sometimes that kind of thing happens. You know, it's kind of rare, but, you know, it happens once in a while. You know, depending on extenuating circumstances. But it's, like I said, it's not like a normal thing. Like, normal people don't just go around just looking at each other and then kissing each other. Like, that doesn't happen. Like I said, I mean, in extenuating circumstances, sometimes those things do happen. But there's usually, like, a lot of extenuating circumstances around it that would lead to something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're drunk or friggin' you're at the beach, you're at a party or something, like, not that you're just, like, in the ring after a match, even though, I mean, how would you compare that to what? It's, you know what I mean? Because it's not an everyday experience, and yes, these aren't everyday people, they are superstars, but I still thought they should have had something, like, he should have said something, or she should have said something, not just like, hey, I'm hot, you're hot, this is totally superficial, we're just a couple hot people. Like, really? That's it? Like, not that, I mean, it would have been alright otherwise. Like I said, I mean, all it would have took was one friggin' sentence from either Lana or Dolph. That's all. Like, you know what I mean? Come on. Or a backstage little thing, something. But, I mean, yeah, whatever, you know. That's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. But yeah, you know, Rusev came out there. I thought otherwise. Like, when Rusev came out, it made more sense, you know, and Rusev did an excellent job, too. Like, he is a good actor, I'll tell you what. He looked so mad, like, it was crazy. He actually was selling the whole thing better than Dolph, really, you know. Like, I do like Dolph Ziggler, don't get me wrong, and everything, and actually him being announced in the Elimination Chamber, now that Lana is with him, it looks like they're finally going to give Dolph his push. You know, put the belt back on him, the IC belt, and then, you know, have him be in the spotlight. So, but then again, maybe it ends up on Sheamus, and who knows? I mean, there are 4 other competitors in that match as well, and Rusev is one of them. So, be interesting to see how this develops. Moving on is you probably end up seeing, you know, obviously Rusev and Dolph Ziggler feuding. And that was the thing I was wondering earlier too, like, where does Rusev go from here? Well, we know now where he goes. He's going to be feuding with Dolph Ziggler. So Dolph Ziggler, now he's going to have to deal with Sheamus and Rusev. He just made his troubles even greater. So he's got 99 problems, but Lana is or isn't one. I'm not sure, because maybe not. Well, we shall see. But let me know what you thought about this segment, what you thought about the match between Stardust and Dolph Ziggler. What do you think about Lana and Dolph Ziggler hooking up? And then what do you think about Rusev coming out afterwards? So then on the next segment, we had some tag team action between the recently reunited Harper and Rowan versus Fandango and Zack Ryder. And so you can already guess what happened in this match. Fandango was, you know, holding his own there for a little bit, but once Zack Ryder got tagged in, that was all she wrote. Freaking Harper hit him with a super kick, and then Rowan got him with that like waist lift side slam that he does, and it was 1, 2, 3. Harper and Rowan get in the win column. So Harper and Rowan, you know, they're back together against the tag team. I almost was hoping that they would end up in the Elimination Chamber tag team title match, but they are not in that, as they're not one of the 6 teams. Of course, with them being recently reunited, as they're back together again, they still have to build up, you know, some momentum, although, you know, they were quite the formidable force back when they were together previously. But, you know, just getting back together doesn't automatically get them a shot at the title. But I believe that they will, you know, start gaining some momentum, and maybe they'll get a title shot before too long, you know, maybe a Money in the Bank or something like that. But we shall see. But, you know, it's good to see Harper and Rowan back together. And it was cool to see Zack Ryder on Raw, even though he got his butt whipped pretty bad, pretty quick. But I thought it was alright, And like I said, I was happy to see Harper and Rowan, in a match on Raw. Let me know, though, what you thought about this match and what you think about Harper and Rowan getting back together. What you think about Fandango and Ryder teaming up and taking the loss. And what you thought about seeing Zack Ryder on Monday Night Raw. His appearances on Raw are few and far between. So then on the next segment, and we had Nikki Bella defending her Divas Championship against Naomi, as the Bellas had lost to Naomi and Tamina at Payback, and now Naomi was getting her title shot against Nikki Bella in a rematch, as they had already faced off before, but here they were going at it again. But before the match, backstage, Stephanie ended up talking to the Bellas, and she told Brie Bella that she had signed her up for some counseling, that she's worried about her mental state due to everything that she's going through, all the stress of everything with Daniel Bryan. And so she said, I think it's in your best interest if you do not accompany your sister to ringside because of the mental conditions that you're going through. And so Nikki would go out there on her own. So Nikki went out there, she faced Tamina she faced Naomi, but Tamina was with Naomi. And she actually took Tamina out, diving through the ropes before they went to a commercial break. And then he came back, it was just Naomi and Nikki. Of course, Naomi was in control at that point, but Nikki would turn things around, and she had Naomi up in the rack attack. She was about to drop it on her, but then Tamina gets in the ring and gives Nikki the super kick. And so it was a disqualification. Nikki Bella wins by DQ, and they were beating up on Nikki, but then here comes Paige, as Paige makes her return to Raw. So Paige clears the ring, as she ended up getting both Tamina and Naomi, and so then it was Paige and Nikki in the ring. And Paige, of course, is the true number one contender. She won that Battle Royal back when Raw was in England. Of course, Naomi took her out, and so she wasn't able to get her title shot. But then Nikki was like going to shake Paige's hand, and Paige grabs her and she nails her with the DDT. And so Paige gets her, and so now she grabbed the belt and she's like, yeah, that's right, I'm back, I'm taking over. Paige is the real Divas champion. So I thought this was pretty awesome, especially really with Paige is what saved it, because it was alright anyway, but like the thing backstage beforehand with the Bellas and Stephanie, it made me want Naomi and Tamina to just beat the crap out of the Bellas. Like, the Bellas are so whack, they're so fake, like, they're whack, man, oh my god, like, they're all, like, rolling their eyes, they're so fake, they can't even say nothing to Stephanie's saying stuff to them, but they're just gonna be all, like, so fake, that they'll be like, yeah, okay, Stephanie, we'll just roll our eyes and say okay, and then talk shit behind your back, because we're fake as fuck, and can't actually, like, be real with it. Not like Naomi, she's real. Naomi got a problem? She'll tell you right to your face. So will Tamina, so will Paige for that matter. Not like those fake Bellas who are so fake, faker than above the waist, fake in the head, fake everywhere. So then, I was like, yeah, I want to see Naomi and Tamina just whoop her ass. And I'll tell you, Tamina came in and super kicked her. Well, Nikki was asking for it. She attacked Tamina. Why is she attacking Tamina outside the ring? Well, then, of course, she's going to come in there and super kick you. But what really saved it was when Paige came out. Like, I was already like, alright, this is straight, they're beating the crap out of Nikki. She sucks, she's fake. So is Brie, they're fake as hell. And then Paige comes out, though. That was awesome. Paige is the best. She is so cool. Like, I was so happy to see her come out. I want her to get the belt. Naomi, I like Naomi actually too, even though she's like healing it up and everything, but I think she's doing an excellent job in that role. She's like just kicking butt big time. I like Tamina with her too. Tamina's awesome. And then Paige coming out, and I thought it was pretty sweet. I liked to see Paige come out there, clear the ring, and I liked it. I was so happy when she dropped Nikki. I was like, yes, because I thought it would have been kind of lame if she would have been like, yeah, we're cool now. For why? You know what I mean? Nikki's fake. Why would Paige be cool with someone so fake? I can't stand them. Like, see you later, Bellas. Hopefully Paige gets the belt at Elimination Chamber. Maybe we have a triple threat. Either way, Naomi or Paige, I'd much rather see them with the belt than the fake Nikki Bella and the fake Brie Bella. They're whack. See you later, you fake freaking whack ass. friggin' divas. We'd rather have real divas, a real champion like Paige or Naomi. They're so much better. That's what I think anyway. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you enjoy this spot? Did you enjoy the match that ended in a disqualification? What'd you think about Paige coming out there? What'd you think about, Naomi and Tamina being down Nikki beforehand? And what'd you think about Stephanie not letting Brie come out there? And what'd you think about those fake Bellas who can't even stick up for themselves? All they're gonna do is just like, meh, meh, meh. Let's talk trash behind people's backs because we're fake. Well, let me know what you think anyway in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree. So then on the next segment, in the main event, it wasn't a match, it was a celebration, as the Authority was celebrating the architect of a dream, Seth Rollins. And Triple H was first congratulating Seth Rollins on his win at Payback, and also talking about how he was the first NXT champion and how he made history at WrestleMania 31, being the first one to cash in the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and that he's taken on all comers and triple threats and fatal fours and all kinds of things, and now he's still reigning as the WWE World Champion. And then Kane got on the mic and he actually was able to muster a thank you to Seth. And then Noble got on the mic and he was talking about how cream rises to the top. And then Mercury, he just couldn't get words out. He was very emotional, but he just couldn't get the words out. And then who shows up? Dean Ambrose, the Lunatic Fringe, the Agent of Chaos, shows up and crashes the party. So Dean Ambrose, earlier he had asked for a match and he was asking once again for a title shot. And so that was in the opening, and now here, it was a little bit after the opening, a little backstage thing they did where he had crashed their little champagne toast earlier in the evening and now crashing their in-ring party. And so they were saying, oh yeah, right, we're not going to give you a title shot, da-da-da. Earlier they said to him, to get to the back of the line. And then Stephanie said, you know what though? Seth Rollins isn't afraid. And she's like, get him, Seth! And so then Seth Rollins actually attacked Dean Ambrose. Of course, he had J&J and Kane there to have his back. But all heck broke loose as they were just going at it. Things spilled outside the ring. But then Dean Ambrose took out J&J, took out Kane. He was just nailing him, freaking laying him out. And he had Seth Rollins draped over a pile of cinder blocks. As he revealed, there was a pile of cinder blocks right next to the announce table, just as when Seth Rollins had hit him with the curb stomp on the cinder blocks quite some time ago, sidelining Dean Ambrose for a while. And now things were coming full circle as Dean Ambrose had him right there draped over the cinder blocks, and he had a steel chair and he was threatening to hit him with the steel chair on the cinder blocks. And Stephanie McMahon was like, fine, you want a match, you got it, you got your title shot. He's like, all right, deal, all right, cool. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna hit him anyway. And then he went to hit Seth Rollins, but Joey Mercury saves Seth Rollins. And then Jamie Noble was there as well, and Dean Ambrose started fighting them. He clotheslined him over the barricade. He was tossing him around, and then Kane came. And they were all fighting, and the Authority, the numbers, the strength in numbers just overcame Dean Ambrose. And it ended up with Seth Rollins actually turning the tables and pedigreeing Dean Ambrose. So Seth Rollins gets the pedigree on Dean Ambrose, and he just held the title in his face. He's like, yeah, I'm the champ, I'm the champ. And so there, it went off the air. So Dean Ambrose gets his match, his title match at Elimination Chamber versus Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Although at what cost, as he was pedigreed by the champion. So let me know what you thought about this. What do you think about the little party they were having there? It wasn't much of a party until Dean Ambrose got there, right? It's not a party until the Lunatic Fringe arrives, which was pretty cool to see Dean get out there. I'm definitely happy that Ambrose got his title shot. I was kind of hoping he'd win at Payback, but I definitely am going to be rooting for him at Elimination Chambers. Let's see if he can get it. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so, but I won't be surprised if somehow Seth pulls it out. He always seems to find a way. But how will he beat the Lunatic Fringe? It's not going to be easy, as Dean Ambrose is an agent of chaos, And that's the thing. When he came out there, they're like, "Oh, you got a lot of nerve coming out here with all of us," but it ain't nerve. Dean Ambrose don't care. He's all about chaos. Just coming out there, he knew he was going to disrupt things, and that's what he wanted. He didn't care how much punishment was going to be dealt out on him. He doesn't care about his physical person. I think he's proved that time and time again. What he cared about was ruining their little celebration and getting his title shot, and he did just that. So although he was laid out by Seth Rollins with that pedigree, it was Dean Ambrose who actually came out on the winning side. Usually that's not the way you describe someone who's been laid out by a pedigree, but in this case it was the way Dean wanted it, really. I'm sure he would have rather, been standing tall at the end of things, but he did get what he wanted out of his disruption, out of the chaos that he wreaked havoc upon the Authority celebration. But let me know what you thought about that. What did you think about Dean coming down and disrupting the party? What do you think about Dean getting a title shot? Who are you going to be rooting for at Elimination Chamber? I know I'm going for Dean. But let me know either way in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is appreciated.